little audio icon. And you can slide that up or down. There, see, Garrett? He can hear me now. And you can also double check your audio by no, other way. There is a little microphone with a red wheel that is an audio setup thing. And Alex has just put a screenshot of that on the screen. So it's in the corner. Can you point to it too? It's in the corner there, a little red gear on top of a microphone, and that will make sure that you can hear everything just fine. We are going to keep our chat window open during this event, so you can make comments or ask questions, and Karen will be monitoring that. We just ask that you keep things on topic. We know that you have tremendous senses of humor, and while we do enjoy that, there is a time and place. So I encourage you to try and keep yourself on topic there so that the activity going on in the chat window is relevant to what's being talked about in the event. We are also going to be live. You can live tweet questions to us if you don't want to use the chat window and you use Twitter. Our hashtag is NCOS2017, and Karen will put that in the chat window, and she will also put in the chat window the URL for a website where we can aggregate Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram posts that you might make during this event as well, or questions that you might make. So Karen, if you can toss those into the chat window. So hashtag is NCOS2017, and she will share a link for a website called, we call it Tagboard. And at that Tagboard you can see current and recent posts. And then ones that we really like, there's two tabs there. One is featured and one is latest. And so if you're tweeting something and you want to see where did it show up, your privacy settings have to be set to open. And you will probably show up in the latest, but you'll only show up in the featured if we liked your tweet a lot and want to, yes, Benjamin, that sloth. That's a good segue actually, Benjamin. That sloth has a name. He is an astro sloth, as you might have imagined. And does anyone want to guess what his name is? You can put your guess in the chat window. What is the name of astro sloth? Those of you that have been to a workshop here at JSC in the last year will probably know. It's not Speedy, Frida. No, not Speedy. No guesses? I thought we would have more engagement here. Astro sloth. Yeah, no, Astro Sloth, his name is Neil Armsloth. So you should have known. You should have known. Right? And so that is relevant to today's event, Making the Leap, and the date of today's event. And I'm going to ask you some questions about that in a minute. But before, good, Angela, and if you do, I want that on, I need proof of that, of you naming your next dog Neil Armsloth. I do. Why don't you get a pet sloth? That would be even better, actually. But no, I digress. Let's get underway, shall we? Since we only have an hour for this event. I don't want to keep you from the wonderful featured speakers that we have for tonight. But I wanted to set the stage by pointing out Chelsea here, because it is Chelsea who I blame for the whole genesis of this event. So back in November or December of last year, 2016, we made a mistake. We mistakenly sent out an email to who we thought was our current course members, and it went to folks that were in, yes, of course I remember, Chelsea. It went to previous NCOSers, and so Chelsea emailed us and she said, hey, was I supposed to get this? I mean, I loved NCOS, but I didn't really, I hadn't signed up to do it a second time, but if there was a chance for me to somehow be involved a second time, I would love to do that. And so that just got the wheels turning and thinking, and she'd shared some of the things that she had been going on to do after her NCOS experience. And so I suggested, would that be something, would you want to come talk to other students about making that transition from community college to university? And I'm going to quote her right now. And she said, yeah, that's a great idea. And she said, as a student, it can be a pretty stressful experience to switch from community college to university. So I think many people would find it very helpful and reassuring. It would also be really nice for them to hear that they aren't alone in some of the stresses that they may be facing, and that anything is possible. And so, Chelsea, everyone here, all 75 of you that are here, should give a virtual round of applause, which you can do by underneath your name. There's some little emoticon thingies there, and one of them is applause. So I'm applauding you, Chelsea. It's because of you that this event came to be. So thank you for that. And you can see that we have 5 featured speakers tonight: Chelsea Nelson, who I just spoke about, Esteban Duran, Rohan Vora, Avery Malachi, and Sergio Sandoval. And so each of them is going to have a 10-minute block to share their story with you. And if they use up all 10 minutes of their story, telling you their story, then that's fantastic. That's what we planned for. If for some reason they come under that 10 minutes, then we'll use any of the extra time for Q&A. And then if we have some time at the end, we will be able to do some more questions. So before we go to, and then the order of the speakers is going to follow the order on the screen. So it's going to be Chelsea first, then Esteban, then Rohan, then Avery, then Sergio. We'll wrap it up. So and for any of you 5, if you have any questions during the event, use the moderators tab in the chat window to let us know if you're having technical difficulties or something that you need to tell us. Let us know. All right, so making the leap. Why did we pick today, July 20th, to host an event of this nature? Anybody want to take a guess in the chat window? Go on now. What is significant about July 20th? All right, Aaron and Christian, yes. Yes, it is Angela. That's why we landed. Lance Armstrong moonlighting? No. Close. Lance wasn't probably ready for that yet. But it is the 48th. Today is the 48th anniversary of the Apollo moon landing, the first time human beings ever set foot on a celestial object other than our own planet. And so to celebrate that, and it's Jack Connor's birthday, which is the other reason, Jack, we decided to hold it today, because of your dad's birthday. But what we do have is Karen's going to post in the chat window a little montage that you can look at some point. Don't do it now because we're going to launch into our content. But there's a little commemorative piece there that NASA put together to commemorate today. So we thought that we picked this day specifically because that was a huge leap for technology, for the human race. And so there will be days where it seems like making that leap to university seems as big of a leap for you as it was for Buzz Aldrin to make that first step on the moon. So, hooray technology, I agree, Sturgis. Let's go ahead. Chelsea, do you want to do a quick video and mic check with us before we go to your slides?
Hello?
Yep, go ahead and click the video button and the talk button, both of them.
Hello? Can you hear me at least? Awesome. I don't, oh, wow, okay. There I am on the screen. Cool. All right, so can I go ahead and get started? Or do we need to just? Awesome. All right, so hello, my name is Chelsea Nelson. I'm from Pearland, Texas, and I am 20 years old. Right, did it switch the slide for you guys too? Is it just for me?
It did for us as well.
All right. All right, so here's everything I'm up to currently. I am a student at UT Arlington. I'm doing aerospace engineering and physics, and yes, it is as much of a nightmare as it sounds. It's definitely very tough and very time-consuming, but I love it. I got into undergraduate research with the physics department. I am researching how solar winds and particles affect Earth's magnetosphere and the magnetic field. So that's pretty cool, looking at a lot of satellite data that I usually don't understand. But the professors are great and they're very helpful. I am also a communications officer for an aerospace organization known as the American Institute for Aeronautics and Astronautics. I am the president of SES, which is the Students for the Exploration and Development of Space. And starting in the fall, I will be a presenter at the on-campus planetarium. So I keep very busy, and it's definitely very time-consuming. All right, so I completed INCOS in 2016 in May. This right here is my team in a picture. I made the shirts, by the way. We were supposed to have tie-dye shirts, but we were the red team, and they came out pink. So came up with Plan B, and we got our logo printed onto t-shirts. So it was fantastic. And I didn't think I was going to be on video, so I did not wear mine, and hopefully the team doesn't get too mad at me. I completed the INCOS program here at Johnson Space Center, which is almost like 25 minutes away from my house, so it wasn't that far of a drive or anything different than what I've seen, but it was still fantastic and the tours were amazing. I was the communications and outreach manager for my team, and that was actually pretty challenging, learning about the different paperwork that engineers and just really normal people have to do besides like school essays and things like that. So that was definitely very interesting to learn about. And my mentor, Laura, right here, well, you can't see me pointing, but my mentor on the very side of the picture, she was great at helping me figure it all out and making sure that all the paperwork was fantastic. I ended up winning Red Team MVP just because I wanted to make sure to keep my team motivated and excited, and I guess I did that because I got MVP. I was representing Alvin Community College. I had only attended that college for a year, and that was kind of a stepping stone into transferring over to UT Arlington. Through this INCOS program, so in case you didn't know how amazing INCOS is, there's so many opportunities that come out of it. So through INCOS, I met Stu, who is actually in this picture. Stu McClung, you may have seen him in webinars or other talks that INCOS has ran, I guess is the way of saying that. He is the Orion Crew Module Landing and Recovery System Manager. And, oh, my slides are changing. Oh, no. All right. Cool. Through INCOS, I was also able to volunteer for MATE ROV competition. At first, I was just the crowd management, but this past summer, I was also able to judge the competition, which is pretty intimidating. Judging lots of little kids in their water ROVs is definitely a different experience. This team is so amazing, and they're so supportive and great, and we work together wonderfully. Now, we decided to do MicroG Next together. We submitted a proposal. It didn't get selected, unfortunately, but we worked just as well together in person as we did spread throughout the country, and that was definitely an interesting challenge to overcome. All right, so they wanted me to discuss how I ended up at a four-year university after INCOS, but I actually had already decided on a university by the time I was into INCOS. So the first step was deciding that I wanted to study aerospace engineering. Originally, I was an aerospace and mechanical engineering dual major before I switched over to physics. And that was all thanks to my senior year Earth and Space Science professor. He just got me hooked on it, and I've been obsessed ever since. So that was my senior year of high school, so I was kind of slacking in applying for colleges. So I applied for 2 four-year universities, and I got denied. And I think that's very important to tell and share because you can't let that denial get you down. You have to just keep working and reevaluate what it is you need to work on. So step 3 was working on bringing my GPA up and researching what I could do in my career field because aerospace engineering was something I knew the name of, but really didn't know much about. I kind of just chose it and was like, we're going to go with this one. So I definitely spent my year at Alvin Community College researching what I could do, what's out there, the different companies, but of course I'm pretty set on NASA, so didn't really change my mind too much. But step 4, I applied to UT Arlington. Oh, also, throwing this out there, there's only 3 schools in the state of Texas that offer aerospace engineering, so if that's what you're going for, good luck. It's UT Arlington, UT Austin, and A&M. So I applied to UT Arlington, and it was fantastic. I received my acceptance email at 2 a.m. in the morning while I was actually up working with my in-class team on our final report and presentation. So that was definitely great to be able to share that experience with all of them. So the major differences between community college and a 4-year college is the amount of time required to study. I thought I knew what I was going into because I had gone to community college for a year, but it was nothing like what I expected. Engineering classes are tough, and don't let people say that they're not. Don't let people think or tell you that, oh, it's so easy, and if you're struggling, you're doing something wrong, and reevaluate your major, things like that. No, it's tough, and you're going to hate it. But you're also going to love it at the same time, so kind of a strange mixture. But it requires a lot of time to study. That's all I do, ever, really. I don't get out and do fun things. I just stay in my dorm and study. But extracurricular activities are also a big difference, considering most community colleges don't have many, and I'm pretty sure UT Arlington has way into the hundreds, if not 200 extra organizations on campus, and they cover a wide variety of things. And it's very important to get involved in that because although employers will look at your GPA, they also look at what else you do, what you volunteer for, what organizations you're a part of. That's a big part of your resume, so definitely keep that in mind. There's a lot more resources at 4-year universities than there are at community colleges. For example, in this picture I have a 3D printer, which is actually at UT Arlington. We have a Fab Lab which has 21 3D printers, and one of the classes I had to take actually required us to design and print something onto the 3D printer. That was a mess to use. It took a couple of tries. My gearbox that I designed failed multiple times, but I got it. It's okay. It worked out. One of the other differences that kind of is school related, kind of not, is friends. At 4-year universities, you will make a lot more friends than you will at community colleges, just because they're more into what you're into, so that's really nice. All right, so here's my tips on how to be successful at a 4-year college. Time management. It is very important not to wait till the last minute to do your homework, because those all-nighters are not fun. I've done so many all-nighters. I think my first semester at UT Arlington, during finals week, I slept 2 hours within 3 days. Don't do it. Not worth it. And that's another thing. Remember to take care of yourself. As crazy as it sounds, it's very easy to get just so into your schoolwork and into the extracurricular activities and everything else you have going on. But you need to remember to eat, you need to remember to sleep, and you need to remember to go to the bathroom. Like, it sounds insane thinking that you have to remind yourself to do those basic human things, but it's easy to forget. And I've added some little memes at the bottom because I thought they were fantastic and they're very relatable. Because it's very true that you're not doing your engineering correctly if you are not tired. Some people in some of my classes would not be tired, and I don't know how they did it. Okay. So the biggest benefits to transferring is that I was able to pursue my degree. Not many community colleges have engineering programs. For example, Alvin Community College does not. And I know in my area of Pearland, Alvin, Friendswood, that type of area, there's not much engineering going on there at all. And so it was definitely a difference in transferring and being able to take those engineering classes that I needed. And so obviously that's very important when you're trying to get that degree. It also taught me to be more resourceful because this was my first time away from home this past year, and that was a big transferring difference for me, having to learn how to do everything on my own, going from a household full of like siblings, pets, parents, to it just being me and my roommate. So you definitely learn a lot about yourself and a lot about just kind of what it takes to survive. I don't know, that sounds so dramatic. Promise, not that dramatic. All right, so college hacks to balancing work, life, and school. Schedule and routine. Most important things I could ever recommend to anybody. Get yourself a planner and follow it. Like scheduling your friends too, because it gets crazy and you lose track of time, and yeah, that's really the only thing I can suggest there. It's write everything down and to just follow it. And follow it week by week. Don't change it up. Change it up a little bit, but not too much, because then you'll get all thrown off. Also, talk to your professors. Don't be scared to go bother them during their office hours, even though they may seem like they don't want to talk to you and they'd rather you not be sitting in their office asking them questions. That's what they're there for. So be sure to go talk to them about questions, bad grades, like anything. Also, sit in the very front of your classes, because also if you sit in the back, it's harder to pay attention, and if you sit in the front, it's harder to fall asleep because the professor is watching you. And then lastly, find a way to relieve stress. So in this picture right here is a group of friends that I met during a drone training that I was accepted for by the Chamber of Commerce in Arlington, and we took it with my drone, so this is pretty great. But that's my stress relief. I tried working out because people said that that was a good way to relieve stress. Had a hard time scheduling that in most of the time, and I'm very lazy. So I decided that 30 minutes of flying my drone and not thinking about homework really helped me out in relieving that stress. So find something that works for you. Okay, so next is my goals. Overall, educationally, I would like to receive my master's and my PhD in astrophysics. I want to research black holes and dark matter and dark energy. I think those things are very fascinating. And the physics department at UT Arlington is very encouraging in pushing me to achieve those goals. And then overall, I want to be administrator of NASA. So hopefully, even though I may never meet some of you, hopefully you see me on the news, you know, I don't know, something cool like that in the newspaper. Administrator of NASA. Sounds pretty fantastic. All right, but that's pretty much it for me. So if anybody has any questions, I guess.
All right, so I think we will probably go to our next speaker because we're a little bit long on time. But I wanted to say thank you to Chelsea for sharing her story, and definitely folks put your words of encouragement in the chat window there if you choose. And what we'd like to do is go on to our next speaker right now. And so we're going to ask you to do a voice check and a mic check, or a video check, and make sure that your video and audio work there. Esteban, are you ready?
Can y'all hear me? Sorry, there's a light overhead as well.
No worries.
Can y'all hear me as well?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yep.
Go ahead and get started then.
Esteban, I think some folks are having a little bit of trouble hearing you. There's a slider bar underneath your video for your microphone. You might want to bump that up a little bit.
Okay, I see.
On your talk. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Second. All right, looks like everybody can hear me. All right, so I guess I'll go ahead and get started with my slides. So first of all, my name is Esteban Duran, and I'm here from Houston, Texas. So what do I do? So I'm a student at the University of Houston downtown. I'm currently pursuing a Bachelor's of Science in Computer Science with a minor in Mathematics. I'm doing undergraduate research in cognitive control of mobile robots, which pretty much means making a robot move with your brain. And I'm doing my senior project currently in something completely unrelated. So I'm taking what I'm learning in my undergraduate research, which is machine learning, and I'm applying it to gravitational wave signals. We're trying to filter out various noise that comes coupled with that data. I've also done 2 internships at NASA's Stennis Space Center. I have a little t-shirt right here. Let's see. So I did NCAS April 2015. I was a student at Lone Star College. I was, like, I believe a day away from the deadline of submitting my application. I was like, I can't go to NASA. I don't think I have what it takes, but I submitted it, and I ended up at Johnson Space Center, and it was a really amazing experience. So getting into a 4-year institution. So the first obvious one is getting a good GPA and reviewing the admissions requirements. You want to make sure that you have a list and check it off of everything that you've been doing to complete your application. And I think out of all the slides, the most important thing is talk to your advisor, both at the community college as well as the 4-year institution that you're trying to apply to. There's people there getting paid to help you get in, so please take advantage of them. I know I definitely did. I'm looking to apply to graduate school now, so I'm definitely constantly talking to them, constantly talking to the admissions office, sending them emails, talking to professors. And the one thing that I would add to that is if the 4-year institution requires letters of recommendation, one of the things that was pointed out to me was to make a good letter of recommendation is make sure that it details something that, like, for example, you did, kind of like a project, and or if it comes down to a personal statement, you describe, sorry, just overhead lighting. You describe your process, how you began, how you researched the topic, and then how you concluded that topic. So community college versus a 4-year institution. There's definitely more opportunities to carry out research. I've done the undergraduate research that I mentioned before. I've done the internships at NASA. I was team leader of the NASA Swarmathon, which is a swarm robotics competition. We ended up 4th place. Not too bad, but next year we'll come back stronger. There's definitely more academic diversity. And what I mean by that is you can easily drop by a seminar for a talk that's completely unrelated to your field and kind of pick up one or two things from there. I've stopped by seminars that are regarding biology and biological systems, and they were talking about MRIs. Well, now I'm using MRI images to complete my research in cognitive control of robots. And there's definitely more resources available, both in software available, for example, MATLAB, or other kinds of software like that, as well as tutoring help and professional help, professional development. I've gone to my career advising center a few times to get my resume checked up, gotten a few feedback points on that, done mock interviews that have really, really helped me a lot in my quest for applying for internships and looking for graduate schools. So let's see. So what skills did I have to improve? Definitely the number one is public speaking. I was very, very bad at public speaking. Most computer scientists are. But as I've gone through the four-year institution, especially at UHD, where there's the Scholars Academy and they really do promote a lot of research, I've had to give presentations in front of hundreds of people about topics that are very fascinating to me. I'm scheduled to give 2 presentations next month. Tomorrow I'll be at U of H Clear Lake, hopefully presenting a poster. I definitely have to develop my leadership skills. I was always the timid one sitting in the back, but as I've matured and I've developed academically and professionally, I've been at the forefront of leading various teams, including robotics teams. And the last one is critical reading. So being in undergraduate research, I've had to read countless publications ranging from medicine to robotics to human-robot interaction. And some of them are very, very short, 5 to 7 pages. Some of them are like 30 pages. And I can tell you I do not enjoy that, but it's all for the learning. And it definitely helps when applying to the GRE. Let's see. Some college hacks that I have. Definitely use a journal. I was trying to avoid using a journal, and you can see a picture of mine on the right-hand side. But I would try to do everything on my phone, take notes down there, but I found that writing stuff down actually helped me memorize it there, and I could just quickly pull out my notebook and go back and see what I had to do. I think this picture was in a down week, so I don't have that much stuff on there. Another tip is rent your textbooks from websites like Chegg or Amazon, unless you will be using that textbook for multiple courses. For example, calculus, I believe they use the same textbook for 3 of the same courses. Use those student perks. You get a lot of student discounts from on campus to external institutions like the museum. And what Chelsea mentioned last time, and something that I really, really want to emphasize, is your personal health will always be a priority no matter what. If you do not take care of yourself, your grades will suffer, your personal relationships will suffer. Personal health, and especially getting sleep, is the most vital importance. And I've heard that from professors, and I've heard that from PhD students and the graduate students that I've talked to recently. That's the number one thing they emphasize. So long-term goals, complete my undergraduate degree. So I'll be graduating this December, attending graduate school. So this one's a little bit outdated. I said master's definitely and PhD maybe, but I just came back from a robotics conference 2 days ago at MIT, and speaking to those people and to those amazing researchers definitely changed my mind, and I absolutely want to do the PhD. Not only because it's amazing, but you also get your master's along the way. And my end goal is to work at NASA or in the space industry. I want to bring my skills of machine learning, artificial intelligence, and robotics and kind of help put humanity on the moon, on Mars, or across the solar system if possible. I think that's the last of my slides. Yes. Questions, anyone? I have like 30 seconds left, I believe.
No, you did a great job, Esteban. So let's take 2 questions here. So looks like the first one is, did you have to choose between CIS and CS major?
Can you clarify what you mean by CIS? Computer Information Systems, I'm assuming? Yes, so we only have computer science at, I believe, UHT. Or we might have CIS, I'm not sure. But I definitely wanted to do the computer science side because I got to focus a little bit more on artificial intelligence, which is what really motivates me and drives me to continue my education. And the master's was just the minor, actually, pardon me, was just a no-brainer, so I only had to take 2 extra classes to get the mathematics minor.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Please, again, join me in offering you a virtual round of applause for Esteban and any comments you want to share with him in the chat window. And we will go ahead to our next speaker, Rohan Vora, joining us from California. Rohan, are you able to use your mic and your video?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can, and see you too. Go ahead and take it away.
Perfect. Hi, everybody. My name is Rohan Vora, and I'm originally from Inglewood, California. What I'm doing now, I'm currently attending Cal Poly Pomona's business school, and I'm working for a NASA spin-off company directly correlated. NCAS really did change my life in the sense that my mentor, Al Bowers, we're actually building technology based on his patent, and he's one of the chief scientists at the Pomdo Institute here in California. So our spin-off company is also working on different technologies. We're doing a posture corrector and also a microscope. So I was part of NCAST in October 2016. I'm right there in the middle. I'm bearded. I'm a business major, so I may be different than most of you guys, but I was an engineer major at one point. I was a project manager for the group, and I also helped with social media outreach. We had NASA scientists liking our stuff on Twitter. We have a great Instagram page called the Navy Atoms that we have a bunch of followers. We were connected with a lot of the Navy teams throughout our time at NCAS when this was going on. So steps after NCAS, NCAS really pushed me to really apply myself. I got into Cal Poly Pomona's business school off of NCAS. And through NCAS, I got involved with this spin-off company, which really progressed my teachings, I guess. So I'm also working towards my degree in business and using basically the leadership skills I gained from NCAS and applying it to my day-to-day life. I had to, keep account for all the stuff we did, and the project management really taught me a lot of leadership skills, which I'm using today in my spin-off company. I'm their finance manager, so I'm also dealing with engineering students and stuff like that. So this NCAS really, really set the skills for me to do where I am today. The main differences between community college and a four-year school is that community college is mainly a commuter school, and you don't really build that many relationships as you would in a four-year. Clubs and campus involvement, I cannot stress that enough. You need to get your name out there. There's so many things you could be doing, and for example, with me, due to this NASA spin-off company that we're working with on campus, who's at Cal Poly Pomona, we have a couple of mentors, and we get to use 3D printers for free. We get to use a lot of. We have our own room in Cal Poly Pomona that's dedicated to us engineering students, the engineering students and us. So clubs and campus involvement is a big thing. Get your name out there. Meet with the, they have like pizza with the president, for example, and I'm always going to that. So be more, and it's more mainly focused on your major. I know community college has a lot of GE classes. So when a four-year university is mainly hyper focused on your major and your involvement. What I wish that I had known before I transferred. So assist.org, that's for California actually. It has all the transfer requirements from all the community colleges in California to all the four-year universities. And basically that's what I wish I had known, the transfer requirements, the credits, the associate's degree for transfers. I feel like that is a big thing in how long you'll stay at a four-year college from your community college. Because before, I feel like it was a 2-year at community college and then 2 years at a 4-year. But the way community colleges are, it's hard to get classes sometimes. Sometimes your schedule doesn't work out with some of these classes. So save as much time as you possibly can by just looking over the transfer credit reports and stuff like that, and the associate's degrees, everything that you can do. What's been the biggest benefit to transferring to a 4-year school? Relationships. You meet lifelong friends here. You meet mentors and even coworkers and colleagues doing the same things you're doing, and you just build everlasting relationships at a 4-year school. Relationships with your teachers, relationships with mentors, with the upper echelon of people in the university. There's a lot of freedom in a 4-year university. Now that could be good and bad actually. So you need there's a lot of freedom, a lot of time. You can set your own schedule. I know at Cal Poly they have a bunch of night classes and stuff like that. But that's also been a good benefit that I've been able to work on myself. Another benefit is finding a stress reliever. Cal Poly has just like many different programs, like for example at the gym, stuff like that. Like get your stress out. Responsibility with working with just different people basically. It gives just a sense of accomplishment. What am I trying to say? Like from a community college standpoint to a 4-year standpoint, I feel like there's more responsibility on you, and some people just live by the pressure and stuff like that. So some goals. The goals are also a big benefit because your goals become clear at a 4-year school. Your goals can, either take you to a place where your goals become very clear, basically. My long-term academic and professional goals is to work on my startups and see them to market with the NASA Cal Poly group. Also work with NASA at the Palmdale Institute. Graduate from Cal Poly Pomona, and eventually start my own business. And I really, So I really thank you guys for the time. And if you guys have any questions, thank you so much.
Thank you. Nice job, Rohan. What questions do you have? We do have a couple of minutes. And the first question is from Charla. She would like to know, what is your startup about?
So basically, we have 3 different startup companies. So we take NASA patented technology. For example, Al Bowers is Prandtl-D, and we built a fan based off that. That's like 13% more efficient than the leading competitor on the market right now. We'll be able to launch that sometime in January. We're also working on a posture corrector that uses NASA patented strain gauges, and we use fiber optic cables. And we also use we're also doing a microscope that we are still looking for NASA technology to put into that, but we'll find it. And so yeah, those are my startups.
Someone wanted to remind them what your major was. I missed that.
Oh, my major, I'm a business major.
And let's see, what's the best way to keep in touch with NASA's opportunities?
So the best way I feel like to keep in touch is, they'll send a lot of emails. MCAS will send a lot of emails to us, and just responding and being a part of it, and also applying to like the OFI internships and the OSSI internships and stuff like that. Also college and career fairs. They had a couple of NASA stands over there, keeping in contact. Hackathons are a great thing. I've been to a couple. I've been to UCLA's hackathon. Cal Poly has their own hackathon, and more often than not, NASA's sometimes there a lot. So those are great opportunities.
All right, thank you so much. There was a few comments in the window about internships. And so in addition to my role as manager for NCAS, I also manage recruitment for internships across the agency. And so you'll see I and Karen have both posted in the chat window the URL for applying to NASA for internships. And there's the current application that's open right now is open until October 17th. And that is for spring 2018 internships. So they would start in January of 2018. For that spring semester. And so, Christian, if you're having trouble with your OSCE application, where can you go for help? Lucky for you, I am the manager. So just give me 1 second and I will give you the email address that you should use to ask that question. Yeah, the system that we use for applications is a little outdated. They're going to be updating that soon. But the email address that I just put in the chat window, Christian, is where you can ask questions regarding your OSCE application. All right, so we have more wonderful speakers lined up for you. So we are going to ask Avery if she can get her camera and love the pictures and microphone to work. So go ahead, Avery, give that a try.
Okay, is it working? Yes?
Yes, it is. You can see and hear you. Take it away.
I'm Avery Malachi, and I hail from Houston, Texas. At the time I was in NCAS, I was at Houston Community College, and I was majoring in mathematics. And right now I go to UT Dallas, and I'm majoring in software engineering. Job-wise, during the school year, I work at a nanotechnology lab at my school, but right now I'm a robotics intern at the Department of Energy, so I got off work a couple of hours ago. While in NCAS, I was on the green team, and it was just last year actually, fall 2016. So, well, we lost, but we lost with pride, so it was pretty fun. Steps taken after NCAS was deciding on a major. When I was in Houston Community College, I majored in math because I thought, I'm going to have to take math anyway for engineering because there's a lot of math involved and whatnot. But I didn't have an absolute major decided, and when I had trouble deciding on a major and whatnot, the math classes that I did take did fulfill most of my credits, so it was easier to transition. I researched universities to try and better, which ones have better engineering programs and which ones don't, and which ones are accredited. If I didn't do that, I probably would have went to University of Houston, the main campus, and majored in computer science just to find out it's not accredited. So it would have been a waste of, my time. And the last one was mental preparation, just to know what am I going to expect, can I handle the workload, so on and so forth. Differences between community college and university is definitely the tolerance level. University the tolerance is a lot lower than at community college, and I learned that the hard way. For example, at community college and whatnot, if you're late or you turn to work late or whatnot, they're a lot more forgiving about it. They may take some points off, but it's not going to be an absolute zero. At university, if you're late, and you're late, like at my university, if you're late 3 days in a row, then you automatically drop like a letter grade. Or if you're late 4 days, then you automatically fail the class. And if you're late for homework assignments, then that's an automatic 0 on that assignment. So I definitely had to, work myself up to learn how to be better about that. One of the better things are resources and opportunities to learn. At universities, there's a lot more research, and you could do a lot more activities and whatnot, and there's better tools than at community college. At community college, I mean, the one I went to, there wasn't barely any, research or anything. It was pretty much go to class, go home. There may be, a few clubs involving, science or STEM programs, but it wasn't that in-depth as in university. So that's one of the greater things about university. I joined a lab. It doesn't even relate to my major. I just thought it was interesting, and I got in to do biomedical research. So the last thing would be a greater drive. From my experience at community college, I feel like it's a lot easier to quit and to give up. There would be people, friends, and even family members who would not register for class or not show up for class, or they would be like, oh, I'm just going to take a semester off and I'll be back, the semester afterwards, and then I'd never see them again. So at university, there's a lot more on the line. It's like I already invested all this time and all this money, and if you I realize if I quit right now, then it's pretty much like having a high school diploma, but with all the debt or loss of money. So yeah, greater drive at a university, and you're probably more willing to push yourself harder and not give up as easily. And the thing I learned is that quitting is contagious. So when you see other people quit, you're more likely to feel the need to quit or feel like it's okay or acceptable. So at university, there's less people quitting, so you feel less the pressure to quit or to succumb to quitting school. Skills needed to be successful in a 4-year university. For me, it was getting over mental laziness and procrastination, and that was it was a really hard path or struggle to get over that. So I just resorted to the point where as soon as an assignment was given to me, I would just do it immediately, that day. I would do as much as I could. Changing I can't to I can. There have been times where I felt like I can't do this. Actually, I think majority of the work I have done at university, it was I'd get a project, the teacher would assign a project, and it would be like, oh, I can't do this. That's too much work. It's overwhelming. And I learned how to get past that. So I took it a step at a time, and eventually I did get through the projects successfully with a pretty good grade because I didn't quit. And the last thing would be understanding intelligence. I'd say there's been a great deal of times that I have felt like the stupidest person in the room. And there have been people who kind of feel like, they're the smartest, and they kind of rub it in your face and whatnot. But then you have to realize that there are things that, they're better at that you're worse at, but there are also things that you're probably better at that they're worse at. So, and understanding that, you're not a stupid person. Very rarely are you going to meet an actual stupid person. It just may take some more time to get through the material, and you may move at a slower pace in this category, but you're not a stupid person. Just power through it and don't quit. Something I was unprepared or surprised by was previous classwork preparation. I can only speak for my school specifically at UT Dallas. For a lot of the engineering majors, or for mine, I did electrical first and I switched to software. It's not like I could just, randomly pick, oh, I want to major in electrical engineering and then start learning electrical engineering from that point on. It was almost as if I had to come in with some electrical engineering knowledge prior to. So at the beginning of class, like an intro class, the teacher would be like, oh, I'm going to assume you guys already learned this in high school. I'm like, what? But you never go over it, and I felt so stupid, and people had already learned that stuff. So that was something I was unprepared for, but I had to build competence on my own and do a lot of background work on my own to be competent and feel, you know, less incompetent. And the last thing, which I thought was really surprising, was GPA isn't everything. I feel like from my personal experience and from what I've heard and what I've seen, GPA isn't everything. What matters more is the extracurriculars, like personal projects, doing outside work, like I work in a lab and whatnot, taking internships and whatnot. See, once I got this internship, no one asked.
Well, we were unprepared for her to drop out like that. Let's see. Still looks frozen. It could be. It looks like she's having a connection delay. Nope, it's not you. We will just give that like a 30-second pause to see if she starts catching up at all, and if not, we will probably move on to the next and final presenter and then come back. Oh, she was doing so well too. Yeah, right. We'll let the dinger ding. She's not back by the end. Did she drop off totally? Oh, all right. Well, I'm assuming she's going to try and come on back in. That can happen if you have a weak internet connection. But let's go ahead and jump on over to our final presenter, Sergio Sandoval. Can you go ahead and do your mic and camera?
Yeah, I think I'm there.
Yep, go ahead. Take it away.
Okay. I'm Sergio Sandoval. I was born in San Diego, California, but I grew up in Tijuana, Baja California, Mexico. This slide move. Okay. Cool.
Yes.
I'm currently a student at Georgia Tech. I study aerospace engineering, and I have one semester left there. I'm in the Pathways program at NASA. So I was not really ANCAS, but I was able to participate in some events and help a little bit. I'm doing my second rotation as a structural engineer for NASA, and I do all the vibration testing for different items that we send to space. My previous rotation, I was doing all the trajectory operations to basically drive the ISS around there. So for me, I lived in Mexico my entire life, and I grew up not understanding why I was American, even though I lived over there. So I studied at Preparatoria Federal Lázaro Cárdenas, which is my high school. I finished, and when I finished, I made the decision that I wanted to study aerospace engineering, which at the time we didn't have it in Mexico. So I moved to the United States at 17, and because I studied in Mexico, I had to go to a community college, which was San Diego City College. I did 2 years there, and then I transferred to Georgia Tech, where I'm currently at. In between, before I transferred to Georgia Tech, I held some leadership positions, and I think it's really important that you start developing that right now, that you volunteer a lot. I did a lot of that. Applied to scholarships. I got some, but some others I didn't. But it's really good that you start getting your mind to writing and to applying to things, because you might get them, and they're really important. And I always look for research and internships. I did 2 research internships, and they helped me a lot to decide that I want to keep doing research and kind of like drive me to where my goals are. Work, definitely, it's a thing that you might need. I'm the only one that moved to the U.S., so I had to work to leave. All my family stayed, and I was 17 years old, so I had to work to be where I am right now. So if that's the case, it's something you really have to consider as well. And mentoring is something really important. Never forget that every person you meet has something important to teach you. So always keep that in mind and take the important things. Take the small advice that is really important with you all along the way. Okay, moving. Biggest differences for me between community college and university, the main one is like bigger classrooms, and really you, instead of having like a small class of like 50 at most, you will have classrooms of like 300 people for the main classes that everybody has to take, like calculus and things like that. And it's enjoying competition with everybody else, because a lot of professors do like top 10% is going to get an A, the next 10% is going to get a B, and the next 10% is going to get a C. So really you're in competition with everybody else, and that can get tough. There are definitely higher expectations. At least for me in community college, I had to learn how to solve certain things, solve problems with a formula. But in a four-year college, you have to find the formula, or how would you work this problem to solve these things. They expect you to think outside the box and not get all the answers by just plugging in. So the expectations are really higher. More expensive, that's for sure. You know, tuition is really more expensive, but also there are other expenses that come out, like books, like if you have to travel because university is not that close, different things that arise that make it more expensive, not just in tuition, but in everything else. And it's more stressful. When you add everything, like the competition, the expectations, the money, that sometimes you have to live on your own in a different place, it becomes stressful, and it's something that you have to learn how to manage. Other similarities are office hours. Professors, just like community college, don't get enough attention. Students don't go to office hours, and that is really important. Professors that see students coming to office hours know that a student really cares, and they focus on them so they can help you succeed. Study groups is something that works really well as well. If you try to do your homework alone in comparison to a study group, you probably cut the time in half, just because there are some things that you might understand better than other person, and vice versa. So really, study groups can be a really big help trying to figure out problems, trying to figure out homework, things like that. And tutoring, also, if you get stuck on something, just try to look for help as soon as possible, because you don't want to keep that problem there, and you want to keep moving forward. I wish before I transferred, I wish I did my homework the day it was assigned. Don't wait until the end to do these things, because it's really important that you develop this character of doing the things when you need to do them. To really focus on the tasks that you need to do, and to solve the things as you go along. The other thing is that professors are really friendly. The professors are there to help you, and they're the ones that have the answers to your problems. They're the ones that give you the grade. So really try to become a friend, but also don't just go because of that. Just really be respectful of them, learn a little bit about them, and really care about the topic and what they have to teach you. Another thing I wish I did is study abroad, because that's an experience that you will never get again. To live in a different country, to learn from a different culture, that's something really important, and it's something that's going to help you develop as a person as well as a student. And the biggest benefits of transferring to a four-year university really are experience. You are going to have a lot more resources that you can get only from a four-year university that a community college cannot give you because of budget, professors, or different things. Like, for example, at Georgia Tech, I'm able to develop the first satellite over there. So I've done things that are flying to space. It's something I wouldn't be able to do anywhere else. Research experience as well. I started working for NASA since I was at school. And also, along with job opportunities and networking, that research opportunity landed me an internship at the Jet Propulsion Lab, which is NASA as well in California. With networking as well goes that every professor, every PhD student, everybody that you carry on in your life becomes a resource, because you never know who can help you land a job. You might know somebody that was your classmate, and you know that they're working at a company that you like, so you might just get in touch with them and have them help you out. Find at least an interview, maybe not a job, but they can get you closer. You get to mature a lot because of the stressful things that you go through. because sometimes you have more independence as well. Maybe it's the first time you live alone. You have to move to a different city because the university you like is not in your city, and you start managing maybe rents, you start working. So it's definitely an experience that in an age that helps you mature a lot. And maybe this is not the case for everybody, but at least it was the case for me. So it's a really great experience. Let's see. My long-term academic and professional goals. Right now I'm in the Paddleist program, which is really like a co-op. It is a co-op, sorry. And I want to make that a graduate co-op. I want to do my PhD in aerospace engineering, and then eventually finish and start working full-time for NASA. Along the way, I want to get my pilot's license, eventually apply to be an astronaut, and later on give back by going back to the classroom as a professor. That's it. So any questions, I'm free to answer.
All right, thank you so much, Sergio. Since we lost Avery at the last moment there, I wanted to go back to Avery's slides. Alex is going to take us back to where she left off. If that's all right with you, Avery, just kind of finish up. I know we had some technical difficulties there, but it looks like you're back at full power, so go ahead and do your mic and camera.
Sorry, I'm using hotel Wi-Fi in a small town. Anyways, as I was saying, GPA isn't everything. It's better to have extracurriculars and focus on personal projects. I've known people who have a 3.7 GPA and they've gotten no internships or no jobs or anything. That's because they went to school, went straight home, went to school, went straight home. So personal projects and doing extracurriculars are important. Last slide is goals. I want to obtain at least a master's degree in computer engineering, and I want to build autonomous systems because I've always been interested in that. I've always been interested in robotics and whatnot. So, yep. Are there any questions or anything?
So what I think I'll do right now is we'll let some folks put some questions in the chat window. If you have that, if you have a question for a particular individual, if you would put their name at the front of the question that you'd like to ask them. If people are available to stick around to answer a few more questions, I know we're over on time a little bit. So if you'd like to ask one of our guests a question, put their name first, along with the question that you have. And while you get those going, I want to just give a sincere thank you to our 5 guests tonight. We were so excited when you sent your slides ahead of time and we looked through them to see what kinds of things that you were going to talk about, and you did not disappoint. Some really wonderful words of wisdom and advice and experience. And so NCOSS thanks you and appreciates you giving some extra time to help guide this next generation of students who wants to make the leap just like you did. Truly inspirational. And so as a thank you, I want to turn my video on because I want to show it to you. I have here for you, hopefully you can see that there. And I can't even see it myself. All right. So what we have for you is a copy of Gene Kranz's book called Failure is Not an Option, because you have shown to us that failure was not an option for you, and you are out there pursuing your dreams and working hard every day to achieve them. And so what's special about this book is that Gene Kranz has actually signed the inside cover, or inside the title page here, and so you'll be receiving a signed copy of his book. You're inspirational to us, and hopefully his story will be an inspiration to you as you continue your academic and professional path. So thank you again so much for sharing with us. So now we'll see if we have some questions here. So okay, so let's start with you. Karen, do you want to go ahead and read the question? First say who the question is for and then read what the question is?
Absolutely. So Avery Benjamin asked you to please talk about the Med Bio Lab experience.
And make sure you turn on your mic and video when you respond.
Okay.
We can hear you, just can't see you.
Okay. I don't know why video is not working. Okay, there it goes. For the biolab, one of the things that we did this year that took a year was a wristband that can tell your alcohol level from your sweat. So you wear the wristband and, you know, it tells the alcohol level. And my part in it was I had to mix sweat with certain chemicals and discover the impedance level between the chemicals with the gamma ray sensor reader. So I had to mix the chemicals together and put it on a sensor to see the impedance level, the resistance to electrical charge. So that's the thing that I did that took all year. Yep.
Thanks, Avery. There's a couple of questions, and I'm going to say, I know that, Sergio, you were talking about this, Avery, too, maybe that how do you balance work and school?
How do I balance work and school? Well, I go to work in the morning, like my employers kind of ask, you know, what's going to be better for you because, you know, it's a school, like my employer is at the school, so I go to work in the morning, I schedule my classes, and that's one of the good things about university is that they have later classes, so I can take classes at 5, 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night, and then be back up to the lab at 7 o'clock in the morning, so, yeah.
Thank you. Sergio, do you or Rohan, do y'all have anything to throw into that?
Yeah, well, something I've always used is Google Calendar. That's like my life. I try to organize everything I do, and usually I don't leave any moment without something to do of my day. Whether it's reading, whether it's like doing something so that I can get the most out of my day. Back in community college, I used to work 3 jobs because that was the only way I could really afford a living. And I can tell you that working around your class schedule, if you get a job on campus, that's a lot easier and better because you can actually move your hours around. But if you don't have that, definitely try, if you can, pick the classes in the morning so you can work later, and then just always make some time in between or while you're in the bus or like at night. But keeping yourself organized is like the best thing you can do. And if you can start right now, that is going to help you a long way.
Yeah, and just to add on to that, yeah, keep a daily planner. That's what I do. For me, I got lucky. Sergio said to work on campus, and like I work on campus, and they totally work around your schedule. So that's another thing you could do to balance the work-life balance.
All right. So seeing as we are about quarter after the hour here, on the screen you will see that each of our speakers has offered to share their email address with us. So feel free to pull that down and contact them. If you really found one of our speakers inspirational or have some follow-up questions with them, you may contact them at the email address provided. So we'll leave that up on the screen for a minute, and then I believe our last slide are some resources for you to pursue scholarships and funding for trying to fund the next step of your education. And so we're going to ask Alex to talk to you a little bit about that. So Alex, you want to go ahead?
Hello, everybody. Yes, no. So the 4 sets of links, actually 3 sets of links that I have set up here, are kind of amazing. They have here First one here is the Jack Kent Cooke Foundation. It's specifically for community college students. They award these every year to up to $40,000 per year to transfer to a 4-year school. The link is there for you. Karen is putting the links into the window as I'm talking about them, so you can click on them and open them up in separate windows so you can look at them later. If you're a Phi Theta Kappa member, they have many different scholarships to apply for. If you're pursuing everything from an associate's to a master's degree, feel free to go check that out as well. Yeah, woohoo, yay. The last link that's here is something is for NASA internships. So if you're looking at for OSSE, there's the website right there is for OSSE, intern.nasa.gov. And there's something new that they're doing, is creating a map of all the different internship possibilities. And that link is also there for you to go through. One that actually I'm familiar with being a high school teacher that is available to us, it's called FastWeb, fastweb.com. You do have to sign up for it, but it's free to sign up, and you put in some information about who you are as a person, and they go and search out specific web scholarships that meet your criteria. I like them a lot. I like them all a lot in the school district I used to work for. So that, promoted them all the time. So the students found it very helpful because they would actually email you when a scholarship came up that fits for you. So with that being said, again, I got to thank all the people that talked. You guys were amazing. The insight information means so much more when it comes from people like you versus old people like me. So I appreciate appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day to share the information and show that it is amazingly possible to do great and wonderful things starting out at a community college, because that's exactly what you guys are doing. All right. Lisa, do you have anything else?
You can also follow internships on Twitter and on Facebook. Internships have accounts where they will post any information about upcoming internships, and they actually search through the postings 3 times a day, and will post opportunities in the social media feed. So that's kind of a nice way to have reminders about NASA internships opportunities. So once again, thank you to all of our wonderful speakers. Watch the mail for your book speakers. We'll be sending that out to you shortly. And be sure to tweet out about or share on social media if you enjoyed this webinar. If you have any additional ideas for things that NCOS can do to help you advance your academic and professional goals, send that to our email inbox, which one of my teammates is going to put here in the chat window for you. Chelsea's putting her Twitter handle in there as well. You can follow me at Jones Goat. So this concludes our event for the evening. Thank you to everyone for tuning in, and we hope that this will make it just a little bit easier for you to make that leap to 4-year university. Thank you and good night.